Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the latest release from Decapitated, the first Damned, out June 4th on Nuclear Blast. This album has 12 tracks, 47 minutes in length, and this is the band's third compilation. They are a Polish death metal band. Now this release came out back in 2000, also named the first Damned, but it included two live bonus tracks. That's pretty much the only change between the one that came out under their previous label and this one now under Nuclear Blast. The issue here is really hard for fans to get their hands not only on the original demos, but even on that compilation that came out in 2000. So releasing it, or re-releasing it if you will, under Nuclear Blast will really allow them to reach a much larger audience and perhaps allow fans to go back and understand a little bit of the history of the band, where it all started, and how they got to where they are today. You can't really understand the present of a band unless you really dig deep into their past. This release, the first demo, will really allow fans to have that experience. And once you look inside of this album, you're gonna see those first two demos untouched. Untouched as far as the structure goes, untouched as far as the soundscape is concerned. So they kept the Eyes of Horus and Cemeteral Gardens in the exact same order. You go through one, you go through the other. The songs didn't mix around, nothing has been changed, everything has been kept intact in order for you to get that same essence as you would if you were to play those original demos today. And that to me is a very important element of this release. I was really hoping that they were not going to tamper with it, they were not going to remaster or change anything or add a solo here or change a tone there. If you really want to have fans understand where you're coming from and understand a little bit of your history, you need to keep that history intact, clean, unpolished, if you will, and not try to revise history and change how things were done in the past. That's exactly what you're going to get here. Once you press play, you're going to be transported back into the late 90s, which is the time of the original demos were released. That sound is so traditional of death metal at that specific point. You're going to hear it in the drums and how much strength they have. You're going to hear it in the guitars and how much they drive the experience and how much they push the songs forward. You're also going to hear it in the vocals in terms of the heaviness that they bring to the forefront, but the darkness that they add to the overall atmosphere of the tracks. And interestingly enough, you're going to start to see some differences between one demo and the other. Even though they were a year apart, there's already some clear-cut differences in terms of what the band was trying to do and what the band was trying to achieve. So it's a very interesting way of going back, traveling in time, if you will, understand where it all started and get a clear glimpse of how things were in the late 90s as far as death metal is concerned and as far as Decapitated goes. Overall, I like the idea. In a year that perhaps makes no sense releasing new material, having something like this, having some sort of a gift for the fans, for the hardcore fans of the band, I think this is the proper way to go. Some new fans may gravitate to this because they obviously don't know that much about the past of the band, so this is a nice way of getting to understand a little bit better about who they are now, and they'll discover some songs that perhaps would have gone forgotten in time. But for the old school fans of the band, this is an absolute must-have to your collection because it really captures a specific moment in time, and that's an important aspect of keeping the history of this band going forward. Now, as far as songs goes, I just want to mention three tracks that I thought were really outstanding. This was the first time that I listened to these demos, so for me this was all fresh, this was all new. So when I listened to this record, I really felt like I was listening almost to a brand new album from the band. So that had that added value to it. So these songs were definitely standouts in my opinion. And I want to start off with 9 Steps. Such a powerful, brutal, dark track that really captivated me. I really like the essence of the sound, specifically coming from the guitars and how well they work out in terms of what the drums are doing, but always pushing the song forward, adding a little bit of more darkness to the tone, to the atmosphere, and then the vocals coming on top of it to create even more of that dark atmosphere to the overall essence of the song. Great ebbs and flows, a song that moves up and down, that has great movement. Just really a standout track when you look at it in terms of construction, in terms of sound experience, in terms of where it takes you from that first go all the way to that last note. Next is Mandatory Suicide, a Slayer cover. I was blown away by this. I was listening to the record. When this song came on, I was like, wait a minute, I know this track. This is Slayer. This is perhaps the best cover of Slayer that I've ever heard. I can't believe that this song has never hit my radar. I love Slayer, and this track just really magnifies what Slayer is all about. I think they turned the knob a little bit to 11 and pushed Slayer from a thrash, sometimes death metal sound into a more pure death metal approach with the way they cover this song. Perfect cover in my opinion because they kept a lot of the essence of the original alive but they added their own twist, they added their own take on it, and this is just a magnificent cover all around. Last but not least, Destiny. Great sound, great melody, the drums and guitars working really well in parallel with one another in order to create a more substance approach, a more robust sound experience from beginning to the end, allowing the song to become very memorable at every single turn. The vocals feel slightly more controlled, at least they try to be a little bit more controlled, and overall allowing the song to feel a little bit more linear, even though it still has some incredible ups and downs. The guitar solo is just outstanding on this track. It really makes the song overall feel more complete, more robust, more memorable. This is it, guys. This is Decapitated with the first Damned, out June 4th on Nuclear Blast. Let me know your thoughts behind this kind of release. Do you guys enjoy these compilations, specifically when you go back into the vault and you bring back some demos and allow fans to really see where the band was at their starting point? So use the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.